We're going to be reacting to the Hour of Joy Explained. What led to the Hour of Joy in Poppy Playtime Chapter 3. This was when, you know, Huggy Wuggy and all the other toys came to life and started killing all the employees in Poppy Playtime or Playtime Co. Toy Factory. So let's check it out. I hope you guys enjoy. Lock in.
The Hour of Joy was the horrific end that sealed the fate of the Playtime Co. organization and its
Rest in peace to all the employees.
Its legacy with a bloodbath, with the mistreated dolls getting their long-awaited revenge. As Poppy recalls it, everyone within the factory on that day were butchered indiscriminately.
That's crazy. Innocent. Who knows about the Hour of Joy? Let me know in the chat.
And employees were adoptive parents of the children, and many cared about them and didn't even know about the cruelty that takes place behind the closed doors that these children are transformed into the monstrous dolls.
Absolutely crazy, dude. Look at all the bodies, man.
Moment of it. It went on so long, so agonizingly long. They tried to hide, to run, anything to stay alive.
Guys, if you were an employee during this time, like, where would you try to hide? Like, would you try to go up the slides? Would you try to climb up one of these structures to like get away from these monsters? I don't even know where you would even begin because things happen so abruptly and you don't, you know,
to stay alive.
You don't expect these monsters to come to life, right?
Remember their cries.
This is great. Nah, I'm doomed. I would spontaneously vanish. Is crazy. Oh, those are the smiling critters, right? Oh my gosh, there's Miss Debbie.
That's all it really was. They killed everyone.
There's Kissy Missy.
The guilty, the innocent, didn't matter.
We gotta know what exactly happened to them. Oh my, that's that Boxy Boo guy. We haven't even seen Boxy Boo yet. Is he gonna be in are they gonna be in Poppy Playtime 4? I wonder.
And then, once it was all over, they dragged those corpses down below where they'd never be found.
Down below where?
Ate the bodies.
Bro, what? That is crazy. Dude, that's just a terrifying sight to see.
Prototype has to die for this.
That's insane.
Many of the adults were even turned.
He's only in Project Playtime? Okay, so yeah, I've played Project Playtime with friends, and yeah, I just thought, you know, maybe they would add them into the game, but I guess in a sense Boxy Boo is a canon character because they're in the storyline.
Dolls who disobeyed the organization's cause and wanted to fight against them. So Poppy's opposition against this savage event makes sense that majority of the people did not deserve the brutal treatment that they received, with the blood smeared all over the factory and bloody handprints being a grim reminder of that fateful day, with their screams of fear and agony still echoing through all the corridors. As a matter of fact, the only thing that separated
someone said, Rage, you're a rage baiter. You know why? Because you're making people watch you play the game late. You should play it when it gets out. I mean, that's obviously why I'm playing through all the Poppy Playtime games so I can play Poppy Playtime 5, because Poppy Playtime 5 just came out, so I want to catch up on all the games instead of jumping straight to Poppy Playtime 5, because if I just jump straight to Poppy Playtime 5, I miss out on all the lore. Yeah, let's continue.
From the evil scientists and the employees became blurred and a thing of the past, which was their innocence and fight for a righteous cause to free themselves and others from those who oppressed them and made them into these dolls. That innocence was wiped clean and they became what they despised and what they were made into. Monsters who massacred anyone in their way.
Poor kids.
So essentially, Poppy explains how they became uncontrollable monsters after this event, and this is why they needed to be stopped. But as anything and in any conflict, there are always two sides to the story, and the doll side is not a pretty sight.
If you guys think about it, this game was inspired by FNAF.
The founder of Playtime Co. always had a fascination with creating the most realistic dolls from mid-20th century, always trying to produce the top-of-the-line toys and dolls, being very innovative. His obsession with making realistic dolls becomes only more severe when one of his loved ones dies, seemingly his daughter, which makes him experiment with poppy flowers, which are explained to have miraculous properties, making make things go alive. Not much more is revealed until at some point in the later lifespan of the organization, authorities find the mutilated corpse of a little boy stuffed in a duffel bag in his property, which clearly had been experimented on, having his vital organs removed.
That was crazy. Yeah, we heard that on the radio in the video or in the game.
His consciousness. Based on this, we can assume one of the major reasons for the organization to carry out these cruel experiments was to push the limits of the nature and see if Elliot Ludwig can bring back his deceased family member, possibly his daughter.
Dude, that is insane. This all happened because Elliot Ludwig wanted to bring back his daughter.
An obsession with realistic and innovative dolls, so maybe he wanted to make the most.
I mean, I feel like this game has more lore than FNAF because FNAF was the first of its kind. It's easier to take inspiration from something and build off of it rather than create something completely original. You know what I mean?
With human consciousness, which involved surgically removing.
Chapter 4 has to be the worst chapter gameplay-wise. Really? Man.
Toys. Eventually, after several,
you just ruined my expectations.
The organization implements an initiative to make a home.
Because Chapter 3 was peak.
Have a scheme to encourage the employees to adopt the children, but a more sinister secret prompted them to do so in order to have more test subjects available in the form of the orphans. So they push on the constant need for test subjects to carry out their cruel experiments. As the load of work becomes heavier, the organization adopts another scheme called the Larger Bodies
As a FNAF nerd, I'm
they place the test subjects' organs into larger, more gigantic dolls and toys in order to help with physical labor. After time, the scientists and employees involved in the experiments lose their humanity and care little to none about the children, simply seeing them as unimportant test subjects, even showing annoyance when the test subjects pose any defiance or resistance.
Wait, please don't put any spoilers in chat, please.
1188.
Please.
What's his real name again? Yada yada yada. We're added into play care that you weren't really getting along too well with the kids like everybody else was. But look at you now. The kids love you.
These guys are obsessed with the prototype.
Theo, nobody's gonna save you. This prison is where you belong. We'll let you out here and there to go see the kids in play care, but your home is here. And as for the prototype, his home is in the labs. This is your life now.
Oof.
Get used to it.
Rip.
So essentially, these employees become the true monsters, experimenting on not only orphan children, but also babies. So this creates
insane,
a major
dude.
fire.
What in the Epstein files type beat?
Once children
That's
that
crazy.
They have been abused and tortured unjustly, having their innocence and life stolen from them just to be tested on. This makes them attempt to escape and at times murder the ones who caused their pain and misery. Although these murders could be justified as a way of self-defense, the toys who have been treated with little care and compassion, not knowing how to even behave, they are always tormented and bothered by a never-ending hunger, needing to feed their bodies, which they do the only thing an instinctual animal can do, hunting and eating human beings as a form of food to feed themselves. The organization noticing this and their resistance, they treat the dolls worse and worse, even physically punishing them, which leads to many dolls having extreme resentment against their oppressors. That's when the prototype comes to play, who always had a fighting soul, never submitting to the will of the cruel employees involved in the experiments.
A close call occurred this week in which he nearly breached containment. The prototype seemingly disassembled the digital alarm clock within his room and utilized the battery, along with several other components.
Dude, his arm looks crazy. When do we get to see his face?
Fired into the security camera, disabling it.
We've only seen their arm, really.
28.3 seconds completely unmonitored. Once function returned to the camera, the room appeared to be empty. One surveillance specialist went in to confirm his absence. However, upon opening the door, she realized
The claw. The claw. Chapter 5.
The prototype attempted to escape through the
Okay, so we get to see
another surveillance
what is it called? The prototype in chapter 5, huh?
Despite the other specialists still being inside. One casualty occurred. The prototype seems to possess an unprecedented level of intelligence beyond that of all other test subjects, as well as an alarming willingness to commit violence. Further suppression treatments will need to be enacted.
Is this a
ensure
lore
that
video?
no other
Yes,
experiments
yes.
develop these qualities.
He starts conspiring against the organization with the dolls, showing them compassion and promises of freedom. And
Wait, I also have a question, guys. You know how like each character or each monster has been constantly being collected in the previous games? Like Mommy Longlegs was dragged into the shredder machine, right? And then Catnap was taken in the last game. And I guess in a sense Huggy Wuggy was also taken away. Does that mean they're all being combined or something? Or is the prototype like eating them? I wonder if you guys have like a theory. Let me know.
That he had been severely observed and monitored, so he had to only communicate with the ones that he could close to him, would communicate with the others. That's when, with the resentment,
We're just trying to have a great time here.
The dolls plan a massacre altogether, attacking and killing anyone that they
Theo.
get their hand.
Wait, who's Theo? Did I miss who the heck Theo is?
He still times. Keep in mind that he had been severely observed and monitored, so he had to only communicate with the ones that he could close to him, such as Catnap, who in return would communicate with the others.
Theo,
That's
age
when,
7.
with the resentment building up over the years, the dolls plan a massacre altogether, attacking and killing anyone that they get their hands on. So that's when the Hour of Joy takes place, with many of the dolls participating in the senseless slaughter, with many other dolls hearing the screams and pain of the people, who amongst them were the ones who didn't even know about the experiments and even cared about the children. Many dolls like Puppy couldn't help but observe the brutal massacre, being helpless and not being able to help anyone. In one of the early tapes we find in chapter 1, one employee or scientist explains how the prototype is missing alongside many other dolls, which was a flaw in their observation and containment, and how next time the same mistake shouldn't be repeated, and that the new experiments should be contained and disposed of in a secure location.
Final log. In relation, experiment 1006, the prototype. Coordination and cooperation is evidently within his skill.
Do you guys know the codes of Huggy Wuggy, Mommy Longlegs, and Kissy Missy? This prototype is 1006, right?
Are no doubt in relation to him. His absence was a flaw in the scientific process, which should have under no circumstances been left unaccounted for. That's why I'm making this log, so that the same mistake won't be made twice. Any future experiments will need to be contained and disposed of in a secure location. I'm not worried about myself. One breakthrough and I'll be back. We must forge onwards in the name of science, whether those who are beneath us understand it or not. End of...
While shouting and screams are heard in the background, with the scientists referring to them as the ones below who are breaking out and rebelling, the scientist continues that all they need is another breakthrough and he will be back, suggesting that even after death, his consciousness could be retained and put back in another body. That's when the log comes to an end, with the scientist seemingly dying. So this reveals that the prototype was the brain behind the operation in the Hour of Joy, who was a strong opposer of the cruelty that was taking place and eventually managed to defeat them. They killed anyone they could, starting from the lab, Playcare.
That's
insane,
dude.
Up to the game area and reception. The scientist, in a mysterious
We were
way,
just there
says that
yesterday.
he's not afraid of death, however, as he will be back, which raises the question: was their experiment a way to test the limits of life and death as well? And if they could find
So you guys, this is why you don't try to resurrect someone or you know, mess with dark magic or black magic, whatever you want to call it. There's nothing good comes out of it. You know what I mean?
Of Elliot Ludwig, of how he could have possibly wanted to experiment and test the limits and see if he can bring his loved one back. So this is what led to the Hour of Joy and why the dolls killed so many. On one hand, I fully support their actions against the ones who directly had a hand in the experiments and intentionally sentenced them to a life of pain and misery. They essentially took their life and enslaved them, a fate worse than death.
Crazy.
But the other ones who loved them and took care of them, the ones who were not
Adopt
even
an
aware
orphan
of the
today.
experiments, did they actually deserve such a brutal end? The answer to that would simply be no. But in the doll's eyes and perspective, dolls who were not raised like a human, many who were placed inside the dolls as babies, not being able to naturally and fully develop and grow, probably didn't have full comprehension.
You know
of
what?
their
That makes sense. That makes makes sense. Like, you can't really blame the monsters in a sense because they didn't really have a consciousness when they got stuffed into these stuffed animals or
and were
toys.
simply acting on their instincts to survive, satiate their hunger, and fight against the threat. They probably couldn't make higher decisions.
Who do we
of
blame?
who
The
was
scientists?
bad
The
or
people
good,
who
and
wanted
simply
to
were
do these
taking away
tests?
their humanity, reduced to monsters. Monsters who could actually be loving and innocent children. But experiments such as the prototype and mummy Longlegs, who seemingly were adults, seem to have a higher understanding of the consequences
Wait,
of
so
their
some of the toys were adults. I guess they were like either the scientists or just like random
and could tell
adults.
the difference between good or bad. So manipulating the children.
They
who
aren't
didn't
inside the
know
toys,
any
they
better
are the
within
toys. Oh, yeah,
adults'
I mean,
bodies
yeah,
to
they
commit
make
such
sense.
a massacre was a clear manipulation and nasty grooming. The prototype didn't stop there, as he made the Playtime Co. his kingdom and killed anyone who stood in his way, who essentially lived long enough, becoming the monster that he promised to destroy. He effectively became what he fought, oppressing the others and killing them. What do you folks think? Was the hour of joy justified or just a brutal, senseless massacre? Let me know what you think down in the comments below.
No death like this is,
It's been your host,
you know,
Star, and I will see you on the next one.
ever worth it. This was absolutely crazy. It shouldn't have happened, but it did, and it's now part of the game's lore. So yeah, that's the Hour of Joy. I'm glad I got to see, you know, the story behind the Hour of Joy, but insane, absolutely insane.